day. How are you? Amazing. Well, I always talk to you guys about loving yourself, rewarding yourself, being true to yourself. Only because at the end of the day, the only one that really loves you is you. And I know that sounds crazy. Everyone loves you. You're well loved. But you really have to take the time to show yourself that you matter, okay? And sometimes this can be with a bath. Sometimes this can be a little you time. The other day I was also talking to you about things that I do to inspire new things. Like sometimes I will set a goal, and then once I accomplish my goal, then I do something for myself, a reward. Because I feel like, well, if I'm gonna set this goal, what's the purpose of the goal? To achieve something, to elevate myself. And what's the purpose of the reward? Well, the purpose of the reward is to show myself that I worked hard and this is what I've earned for myself. Sometimes we look to other people, and sometimes we look to our jobs and professions, and that is amazing. And I continue to tell people, do and create relationships within families, friends, and professional networks that help inspire you. Now, if you have the ability to empower yourself, why not? Why not do it? I had a friend that every single time she made a goal happen, she would go out and have a cupcake because she was very into cupcakes. And it was about the time we had this cupcake boom, right? And that's great also. But if you have a lot of goals, you better be careful. That might be a slippery slope. But she loved it. So for me, I told myself when I get my master's degree and I'm good and ready, I'm going to walk right into Louis Vuitton, have a customer shopper take me in the store, and I'm going to get a Louis Vuitton purse. That was my goal. A while ago, I had a Louis Vuitton purse that I loved so much. And when I had my first baby, I got so nervous about just nesting. I gave it away. And I always regretted that. But sometimes we do that. I did that recently with my shoes. I gave my shoes away because I just figured time to make space, not haste. So anyway, today, we went to Louis Vuitton. I walked right in. Well, I waited online, actually, and they asked me some questions. No one asked me my budget. No one asked me if I was making a purchase. Everyone treated me so amazing about just being there. And it was actually a really great feeling, I must say. So, and you can have this feeling anywhere. This can be you feel great because you're buying your first car, or you're buying a cupcake, whatever makes you happy. Well, I visited the store at the Mall of Millennia in Orlando, and there they have a Chanel, there's a Tiffany's, there's a Gucci, Balenciaga, Saint Laurent, all the labels are there, Prada, Burberry. But when I saw Louis, I said, today's the day. Today's the day. I did my reward. I did my goal. And I must add, my goal wasn't just get your MBA. It was get your MBA with a 3.5 GPA. And I did just that. So I said, okay, today's the day. I have my rubles in place. Let's go, girl. Now, for anyone who knows me, I've always done this. When I first became a notary in New York City, I told myself, if I become a notary, I'm going to buy myself a Tiffany pen so that when I sign in Tiffany's. And I did. And I did just that. And then soon after, I did not refill the ink and I moved on. But I kept my pen and the nostalgia attached with that moment. You don't have to have an expensive reward. You just need a reward, something to validate you. So anyway, I went into Louis Vuitton and I was given the honor of being escorted by Natalia Khan. Wow. I must say, not only was she poised, polished, and professional, she was so lovely, so amazing, so sweet. She was just super amazing. She was. And when I was working with her, looking through different things, she really just guided my hands and showed me so many amazing choices and selections. And then we went over the product, because here's the thing. I'm a person, I've always been this way. If I'm going to buy something, I don't just buy it because it's fashionable. I don't just buy it because it's popular. I buy it because this is something I've been thinking about for a while, and this is something I truly want. I'll give you an example. I wear Amarige by Givenchy. And I've been wearing Amarige by Givenchy since I was 13 years old. This is my signature scent. I only wear Amarige by Givenchy. And it's like about $100 a bottle. And anybody who knows me knows that's my scent. My second scent that I wear is Tiffany & Company by Tiffany. And I love these two scents. And my last scent that I would wear is Youth Dew by Estee Lauder, which is a bath oil. These are the only scents that you'll find in my collection. Will you find a body spray? Sure. If I use body sprays, it's always coconut, cocoa butter. That's it. That's what I like. And I've been doing so for so many years now. One day, someone approached me and they said to me, "Oh my gosh, I know your scent." I was like, "Oh, okay." And they were like, "My great-grandmother used to wear that." And I was like, "Did you love it or was it too strong?" "Oh, it gave me such amazing memories." But then another person told me, "Oh my God, Fanny, you stink. What are you wearing?" Everybody does not respond the same way. My signature scents that I love to wear are jasmines, ylang ylang, different scents of amber and rose. These fragrances of mixtures are orchid, white lilac, are things that I surround myself with because I love these scents. It reminds me of my grandmother also. And this is the funniest thing. I love the smell of Nivea and oil of Olay. And that's because my mom wore Nivea and oil of Olay. So these are the things that I love to smell like. And not everybody understands that, but that's my style. I saw on TikTok the other day, they said 4 trends that you have to lose. Are you still wearing a side part? Move your part to the middle. I was like, oh my goodness. My amazing sister-in-law just told me about that. Are you wearing booties still, like boots with a little heel? That's out of style. Are you having a skinny jean on? Do not wear a skinny jean. And the 4th item, no more shoulder shirts. The shoulder shirts? I said, oh my God, that is my look. If anybody knows me, when I was in ADP and I would show up in my skinny jeans, my shoulderless shirts, my booties with my side part, that is a signature look that I wear. I laughed when I saw this TikTok, but they had a good point. They said, if you're wearing this, you're between the ages of 35 and 45. Listen, I am. Why would I try to hide who I am? I rock a Converse. I wear a leather jacket. I wear Vans. These are certain styles that I love. So today, we went to Louis Vuitton. I deliberately wore a shoulderless shirt, but I did wear Vans, and I wore a middle part. And the only times I've ever truly wore middle parts was at my graduations because our mother would blow out our hair and give us a middle part. Every other time, if I tried to be mod and wear it, it's not me. I need to take the middle out of my head, and put it to the side. And if it ages me, but I know my age. Now, with this said, these are called our tastes, our preferences, our styles. There's so many styles right now that are out. One of them made me laugh. It's a high-rise bootcut jean. Lord have mercy, I have those. I used to call them mom jeans. And guess what? I still look cute in them. And I said to myself, this is so funny, Whatever it is what it is. So Louis Vuitton. Back to Louis. Oh my goodness. First of all, Natalia Natalia Khan, God bless you, girlfriend. She took my hand in that store and she said, "Is this your first time in Louis Vuitton?" My answer was yes. Yes, I've had a Louis Vuitton before, but it was a gift, okay? And she takes me in the store. We walk in, we look at everything, and she shows me everything. She tells me the history. I want to know. She tells me about all the types of leather. Very fascinating to me. And if you're a vegan or not into leather, that is also okay. They have canvas. A lot of people wear the logo, right? The monogram, the logo. Those are usually on the canvas items. So the canvas is a cotton base that has a shellac on it. So you'll see people with the big size bag or the over bag, you know, the little purses with the logo like that. Those are great. Those are $1,500, $1,600 to $1,900, give or take, maybe 22, maybe 22. That's pretty much the price range. Anything leather is going to be about 22 to maybe $20,000. Okay, if you want the even the trunk, it's on a canvas base with leather. It's about $40,000, something like that. So I do have a little sniffle, so I apologize. But the thing was, I wanted a leather, a Louis Vuitton leather, and in particular, I like it in black. I am right now, if you know me, studying for my doctorate. Soon, I will be Dr. Fanny Gerlovinchico. Well, Dr. Fanny HBM Gerlovinchico, MBA or DBA MBA. Very proud of this. This is my next goal. When I achieve this goal, I will buy my Chanel quilted briefcase. That is the goal I set forth. I manifest, I project, it will happen. So I manifested this goal. Today we walked in. I was online. My husband was there with my children. They waited for me. They took my Starbucks. They took my iced non-fat latte with 2% milk and 2 sweetened loaves, and they held it for me because you cannot bring beverages into the store. I sanitized my hands and I entered. It was just a feeling. I don't know if any of you are into fashion or icon. It's just an amazing feeling. So she started to show me all the canvas. This one. And I said, "Natalia, I want black Louis Vuitton." Right then, she knew exactly who I am and what I'm about. She was like, "Oh, Fanny, you know what you want." I was like, "Yes, ma'am." So we go right to the section, and she shows me all the different bags. Beautiful, beautiful, crafted. And I said, "I'm looking for something in particular." It's a gold chain with like a leather in it. And she said, "Oh, I know what you want." She pulled it out, and it was there in its glory. So amazing. So beautiful. I knew that it was mine. So then she said, "Okay, let me get this for you." I said, "And you know what? I want to see these boots." So there were some boots there. I was like, "If you have my size, let's try those on too." Hello. I don't care if I'm getting gas, if I'm buying a cookie. I always know my purchase power. I always tell people, do not go out to eat in a restaurant if you cannot tip. Know your purchase power. If I didn't have my purchase power ready with me today, I would not have gone in. Sometimes, and I made this joke before, I used to go to Chanel in the Village, and I would look and look because I used to always go into Chanel. And then I was like, "Okay, not today," because I'm not purchasing anything, I'm just browsing. I would also go into Burberry or other stores because you're allowed to browse, you don't have to buy. But I said, the day I walk into Louis Vuitton, it will be on a purchase day. So she said, "Well, we don't have this size in the boot." And I said, "Well, then you know what's next. We're going to make this bag a reality. I want it. Let's do it." We bagged it up, paid the price. And for me, it felt amazing. Now, she made a great point. Some customers say to her, like some people that come in, "I don't know why women spend so much on bags." So I would strongly suggest to you, if you buy a bag from Louis Vuitton and it's leather, the moment you walk out that store, that price does not depreciate. It It doesn't. It's actually valued at a higher level. So let's say you pay $2. It's now worth maybe $25, $3, depending on how rare it is. The paper bag that you leave the store with, you can sell it for $250 to $500, and you got it for free. The box that your bag came in, you can sell that box for $250 to $700, depending on the size of it. The large, beautiful, gorgeous bag that my bag came in, I know it's worth, meaning that it's not conscientiously worth, but people will pay up to $500, $700 for it. I have many things from Tiffany's, and those blue little boxes from Tiffany's, I can sell them for $100 to $250. You know, some of you may have a Macari or a website and such. I even went and we had a garage table at one time in my old town, and those boxes, a lady bought one for $100. Just the box, because in order for you to get a box or a bag with that label, you have to walk into that store and purchase it. There's no other way to get it. Therefore, the value is tremendous. The moment you walk out the store with that bag, it has a higher value, because once it sells out, that's it. If you go online to buy it, mint condition, brand new, you're going to have to pay $1,000 to $2,000 above the ticket price. If it's used, maybe $100 less. But think about that. Some bags have that much power potential in its purchase. I have a Michael Kors bag that I know right now somebody wants, and they're willing to offer me more than what it's worth. I have Coach Classic pieces, and one of my favorite Coach Classic pieces that you'll always see me with is my Coach black and white wristlet. My Coach black and white wristlet matches my Coach black and white tote that I have, and my Coach black and white wallet. I have the set. The wallet was $150, the wristlet maybe $200, the bag itself was, I don't know, $250, $300. They're all worth in the fives. You understand? So the moment you leave, you have an investment piece if you take care of it. My Kate Spade pink shoulder bag, and forgive me for saying this, was while Kate Spade was alive. When she passed away, this particular bag, price doubled, and now it's sold out. People go through trauma, which adds to value. It's terrible to say, but these are the truths. So now, when you buy a car, it's that same person that asked those questions. Right when you drive it off the lot, it depreciates. I know people, they spend $50,000 on an SUV or a truck, and they drive all around. That's their value. This is mine. I have maybe my Michael Kors sandals. I have these Tommy Hilfiger sandals. I swear, I bought them in, I don't know, TJ Maxx for $10. When I looked them up online, because I felt like this strap is getting loose, $50. I said, okay, well, I have a good deal. This happens all the time. Some fashion pieces have so much value. Once you own it and attain it, it's just... Oh, one of my favorites, Ray Dunn potato jar. My PIC got me the collection. The 3 little jars and the potato jar in a cup. If you try to get that potato jar, it's you can buy it in TJ Maxx for $12, $25. You will never find it. For you to buy it right now, $125, and I have it in my kitchen. She gifted it to me. Some things just have this value. So when you make these purchases, you really should know what you're doing. So we get in the store, I buy the bag, but let me tell you something so funny. This particular bag that I wanted, I've been thinking about for a long time. So long that I've been like, okay, Fanny, get this Masters, girl, get it. Why do you think I love this bag? Well, I'm going to tell you why. This bag has a gold chain attached to it, and it has a bag also attached to it. So it's like a double bag, like an accessory. But guess what? It comes with an additional strap. So when I left the store, I left with 2 bags. Because of the way it's designed, you can separate the two, And now you have 2 different bags that are 2 pieces. Now, I'm never going to sell this bag. But if I wanted to, I know right now that people are selling them $4,000 per set, $2,000 individual. My price just went up in its value 200% from what I paid. You see what I'm saying? My Tiffany pen that I bought in 2009 is worth $450. I paid $125. Whenever I set myself a goal and I have a reward, as much as I love my friend, it's not a cupcake. A cupcake is going to add calories to me, and I'm diabetic. So I don't want the sugar risk, and I don't want the extra weight that I already carry. I want the investment item. I want the item that's worth the price. When me and my husband had our 3rd baby, we said, let's buy a house. We did. We sold our house. Thank you, God. But of course, what we sold it for was more than what we paid. Goodbye debt. Goodbye mortgage. These are things you have to think about. When me and my husband had our first 2 children, he bought a condo. That condo, when we sold it, and I'm just going to give the numbers out. I don't know what we purchased it for, but when we sold it, we made maybe close to $200,000 on that deal after living there for only 5 years. These are goals that we had, and we made them happen, and then these are our rewards. This is how you create a stability. So someone might be saying right now, well, Fanny, I can't go out and buy a Louis Vuitton bag. Don't. If you can't buy it, if it's between the rent, something to eat, don't do it. But set the goal. Continue with your goals. Because when you manifest a goal, that energy itself becomes lucrative. You invest in yourself. Once you project this, what do you mean, Fanny? If you project positive things in your life, you're going to get positive things. If you create an atmosphere that you want to achieve something and then you create it, you manifested that. And then at the end of the day, you will have what you need. Now, it may not be material. You see all the time, I used to look like this and now I look like that. And you think, well, golly gee, how did she go from being like that to like that? Well, dang it, she was at the gym every day at 5 a.m. She was working out an hour, 2 hours a day. She started keto diet, good for her, God bless her. She started working out on herself, and then as she started working out on herself, she got a little more confident. And then guess what? She started realizing her clothes was getting big. So she said, wow, I'm doing it. And then all of a sudden, I saw this one lady. She's a mother of 2. She was depressed. Her husband walked out on her. What's her story? When she had her second baby, her hair fell out. Her husband was sick of her. And she gains a lot of weight. Now, is gaining weight a bad thing? I don't think so. Everybody has different preferences. But in this particular scenario, to her it was. She said, okay, he left me. What am I going to do? Didn't have a job. While her kids were in school, she started working out, started getting confident, started feeling better about herself. Then all of a sudden, that positive energy, a career opens up for her at the gym. She started being a trainer. Now she's one of those bodybuilders that she's like a professional bodybuilder. And she's also a trainer, a speaker, a motivator. She manifested that because she did the due diligence that she needed to do. Some people will tell you, if I could only lose 10 pounds, everything would be different. Go cut your head off. I'm going to tell you right now, one time I told my doctor, I said, well, I want to lose 10 pounds. And he said, Fanny, your head weighs 10 pounds. If you're in that much debt for 10 pounds, cut your head off. And I started laughing like it was the funniest thing, because reality, you don't want to lose 10 pounds. You want to be healthier. That is what your goal is. Be healthier. Manifest that. I'm going to eat this whole entire bag of chips. Go for it. Do it. But don't complain later. Don't. Now, I'm forced into a diet that I cannot do anything about. So I need to constantly think about, what am I eating? Is it a healthy choice? Am I going to be sick? Sometimes I eat things and I pass out. So if we're out somewhere, I don't want to pass out and miss out on my family. I've done this mistake many times. And then I wake up an hour later in the car like, oh, I passed out. Dang it. I'm not drunk. I had maybe something to eat that had sugar or was rich. So I make these decisions. Okay, you know what? I want to be present and enjoy what's going on. So I'm not going to eat it. Now I go to take a shower. Quickly I do jumping jacks before I get in my shower. Quickly I do lunges because I like to feel energetic. Also, when you do the circles with your arms, tighten up that skin. I like to feel tight. It's just me. You don't have to. This is what I do. I take my vitamins every single day because I have an issue and I need to take them. Make these conscious decisions every day. I drink this much water every day because I want to be hydrated. I'm so parched. I'm always thirsty. Drink soda. Okay, you're still thirsty. You're still parched. What are you doing for yourself? You change. You change your life when you're ready to, but you manifest it. So today, I got this bag. Now, did I change? I didn't change. Are you going to see me in ShopRite with this bag? You're probably not. Any of the things that I truly love, I won't just wear it anywhere. I will keep it for when I want to wear it or feel good about myself. I don't know if that means anything to you. I see a lot of people with the big Louis Vuitton that they know they spend, let's say, $1,500. So it's a, one of those white and gray checker canvas ones, about $1,500. And they wear it everywhere. Good for them. They have that purchase power. They're able to do it. Kudos. That wear and tear on that bag depreciates the bag. My Coach tote, I wear it everywhere. That bag, I don't know how much it's worth because I wear it all the time. And I like it. It's comfortable. But if I'm going to go somewhere special, I'm not going to bring that bag. Not. Certain bags, like I mentioned before, I have this Banana Republic bag. Love this bag. Love it. I wear it when I go to a business meeting, when I need to talk professional talk. That's the type of bag that is. The bag that I bought today is if I'm going out to celebrate. It's not a business meeting bag. You don't always have to put everything in your basket on display. Not everybody needs to always know what you have. Am I announcing it in a podcast? Sure. Am I going to put it on my blog? Absolutely. That's my investment in myself, in my business. You don't always have to do that. And then the other part of that is, when you do it for yourself. My bag, unless you get really close and look at the emboss, you're not going to know it's Louis Vuitton. That's how I like it. I'm very specific about my fashion, my colors, my combinations. The colors. The other day I was organizing my closet, and I'm just going to walk over to my closet as I'm talking to you because I'm laughing about this in my head. And I organize it by jackets, blazers. You may have noticed the volume change because I'm in the closet. Jackets, blazers, sweater sets, dresses, long sleeves, t-shirts, short sleeves that are hung here. Okay? But the funny thing is it goes from beige, black. It goes black, beige, cream, pink, blue. Black, beige, cream, pink, blue. In all the different categories, it goes from those color schemes. And then I realized to myself the other day, I said, oh my goodness, I buy the same thing over and over again. Like, I love polka dots. So I have so many different types of polka dots. And I didn't notice it until I hung it this way. I noticed I have black and white stripe in a dress, in a jacket, in a shirt, and a long sleeve, a short sleeve. I have so many bold whites or bold black stripes. Then my blues are all in the denim hues. Pinstripe, paisley, flower. And then I have some radical colors like greens and pinks and reds that are special. And I said, what the heck? I noticed this. Then all my pants, I looked, it's all black, blues, grays. It's the same color scheme. I have the same color scheme in all my fashion. And I even have like one of my favorite favorite types of fabrics is like an embossed black leather, or and you'll always see me with, like, I always buy the same type of leather style, like this embossed black, or what is this called? Excuse me, crocodile or tie-dye. It's very funny. And I even got a free Victoria's Secret tote, which is the same color scheme. And I'm looking at my fashion, and I said, well, let me look at my shoes. My shoes, they're all black, beige, gold, white, some reds, but they're the same. Even my colorful ones. If it's colorful, it's snakeskin. Even my sneakers, I realized, oh my goodness, my fashion is so specific. And I'll even go, I'm going to buy that. I don't have anything like that. And then I bring it home and I'm like, wait a second, I have something like this. That's how I've always been. I have a classic style. It is. It's even in my pajamas, even in my socks. It's just my style. And even though sometimes my style is bold, where people are like, whoa, Fanny. Like I have this amazing, beautiful leather dress. Or these red, pointy boots. My style is very specific. But it's sound, because I've been maintaining this look. Whether or not my friend over here on TikTok says it's out of style, which is okay. But I maintain it because it's my journey. And that's the lesson here. Please, everyone, manifest positive things, manifest the positive energy. Continue to live your best life. And thank you again for joining me on this journey of Fannytastic Life. Bye now. Good day. How are you? Amazing. Always amazing. Feeling great. Good morning, good day, and maybe good evening, depending on where you are. Well, today I want to talk about a certain topic. I know we're always just talking about wellness, self-care, our health. Well, today we're discussing financial health, and the topic is financial literacy. This is the kids edition, and I'm doing this in two parts. Normally, when you start talking about things of this nature, I can get long-winded more than usual, but I want to give you time to research, evaluate, understand, and really, understand my perspective. I guess comprehend it. On that note, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back, and we'll get started. Good day. Welcome back. Thank you for being so patient. So, financial literacy, what does that actually mean? I know a lot of you may be asking, or some of you may be actual gurus about it. Well, financial literacy is having the ownership of skills and knowledge that equips you with making, an educated and valuable decision or choice based on your finances, regarding to finances. So you completely understand financially and comprehend what is being discussed. Now, as an adult, some of the issues that you may come into contact with is your first job. You get your paycheck and your money's missing. And you're like, wait a minute, I get $10 an hour. I work 10 hours. And you do the math, but you're shortchanged. You don't know. You're missing the taxes part and the deductions part of those checks. That's an example. But what I think is, why go through baptism by fire when it comes to your money? Some things I think you got to feel the burn. But for most things, having that information ahead of time really is a lifesaver. I call it a life hack. Understanding how to balance our budget, pay taxes, bills, and all those different aspects, which can sometimes feel like it's basically falling on top of our heads. It's good to kind of know and have a good solid foundation there. And there's so many tricks that I always try to express and different things that we speak about. But in this particular instance, I have 3 sons. And they all want things. Some of them want video games or computers or sneakers or whatever it is. And I am basically responsible for the overwhelming. As their parent, we are responsible for their needs, right? So we basically provide shelter, we provide the overall electricity, phone, all those things. But there's things that they want that it's outside of shelter, food, clothing, and entertainment that we are supposed to provide. It's things that they really, truly, it's their wants, needs, and indulgences. I guess you can say, let's take it back a step. It's one of my other episodes. So that's kind of your understanding of their perspective, your children. But how do we compensate that? So, have you ever worked in an office and they were like, hey guys, who wants coffee? Go get coffee. Take it from petty cash, or I'll expense it. Those ideas are allowances. And that is something that I utilize with my children. I love the concept. And for me, it has been working for their whole lives. When I was a young person, my father gave me and my sister an allowance, and it kept us with things that we needed outside of the busy norm. Now, I have actually created two different perspectives, a low end and a high end, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but I want to go over some big picture expenses first, just to help kind of understand the whole logic around it. I also want to mention, when you find something important, a family value or a norm, your children adapt that. For example, maybe saying grace or wiping their feet. When you act that way and place that energy on their finances, they understand it. What kind of happens in most families is the one parent takes on the chore of balancing the budget and paying the bills, and it's their stressful time of that part of the month. If it's the first of the month, the middle of the month, whenever those bills are due, and they feel the stress, which creates a fear, a subconscious fear. Why put that pressure? Why not re-engage? I like my children to always be part of the conversation. Sometimes I'll say, okay, enough, pipe down. But there are times that I need their input and I need their take on things. And there have been many situations where my oldest son has found financial discounts on certain products that we're interested in. So it's good to have that insight, and it's good to equip your children with that type of vocabulary and that you can leverage their knowledge. They may be children, but they may offer you a different insight or perspective that you're not looking at. And maybe even kind of take the stress factor off, although it may not seem that way. Well, when all my children were born, immediately I started insurance accounts for them. And I've mentioned this many times before, but I'll dive into deep about that in a little bit, but keep that in your pocket for right now. The other thing is, when they were about 5, each one, they got like their first wallet. And that was a big pride thing where they knew they had their own credentials. When they got their first wallet, what was kind of funny is they got their first library card around that time, and maybe they were beginning to read. And I really emphasized on them learning how to write their names. It's very important. And also recognizing those characters and understanding their birth date. These are other elements we're jumping into in a minute, but I want to lay out the foundation. The other thing was when they were very little children, a lot of people gave us money for them. Like, here, you had a baby, here's some money. So sometimes you go out and you buy what you need immediately. But I've always been a nester. So before my children were born, when I found out I was pregnant, I started buying wipes on sale, stockpiling diapers. So by the time I had my children on all 3 occasions, I had a stockpile. So the money that I received, I would put away in a savings account for them. So there are some things there that you may not have that opportunity that you can do that. You may need that money immediately. And we're going to dive into all those aspects too. So in the big picture expenses, it's building and engaging that relationship with your child. And I said that twice to drill in and emphasize the journey with them. So you're helping them, you're their chaperone, their manager regarding how they understand what's going on, but you are letting them experience this, I guess, new part of life of managing themselves and being responsible. This is the key, okay? The other thing is, for all my children, we've always had an open dialogue, and I know I mentioned this before. So my big picture expenses and expenses that I'm about to dive in, I call the bank rules. They know about everything I'm talking about today. You can ask them and they know. My oldest is 12, my youngest is 5. Financial literacy is just as important as English, math, science. It's things that you need to know that really aren't taught to you. Okay, so bank rules. We're going to dive into the big picture. The bank has rules and regulations set up through bureaucratic systems in the United States that have always been intact. So we know we're given three things in life, and that's birth, death, and taxes. So I always drive this in. So the first thing with the bank rules is some accounts, whether it's your savings, checking, or insurance account, offers interest rates. Some can be at a 0.001%, most are like 0.06. Some can go really high depending on the rewards. So the bank rules, the payout can be annually, it could be compounded daily. It depends on who is managing the money, how it's being invested. But if you look in the fine print, it'll tell you your own account's interest. And when you open up an account, you can always ask, hey, how can I increase my interest? What is the interest? It's good to know. It's always good to know what your interest is. The more money in the account, the more interest is accrued. The other thing I want to mention is anything that I'm talking about today is not mandatory. These are suggestions. And I'm going to mention this again, but if you're a millionaire, you do what you need to do. My dialogue really references people that are either struggling, have a job, don't have a job, middle class. It's really around understanding what to do for your child before they leave your house and go on about their business, okay? Because I always get questions like that. The other thing is responsibility. The manager of the account is the parent. However, when the child turns 13, they can usually manage their account, meaning most accounts don't use the passbook anymore and they give you a debit card. For each of my children's accounts, I don't have a debit card. They have their own debit card, including my 5-year-old, which is stored away. The idea with that is when, for my older children, that debit card is in their wallet. When they turn 13, they can download the app on their phone. Right now, they cannot, so I have to manage how much their balance is and explain things to them. My 5-year-old still is learning, so we will always have these open conversations, but the manager is you. So you have to understand what is going on within the bank and within these transactions so that you're aware, okay? Now, when they become an adult, like the age of 17 or 18, depending on the account, you can always transfer the account completely and remove your name from the account. Or some people are on the account until the age of 24 and 26. These ages, 17, 18, 24, 26, and 13, come into play multiple times within my conversation. And this is a lot to write out. So what I did was I created a complimentary blog with this. So you can actually, when you're done listening to my podcast, if there's questions you have, you can refer to the blog or just reach out to me. I'm always willing to help. You understand that. Now, the age of who's responsible can vary bank to bank. So you always want to ask your bank. Check with your financial institution, I always say. Now there's fees. Some banks have as low as $12 a month maintenance fees. Some can be as high as $60. There could be ranges of overdraft fees. So I always say try to keep a little cushion in the account. The cushion will help them that if they do spend something, that they can never go below that cushion. So if it's $25, it's really, for them, that is where they begin. So the $26 is theirs. And I make that point because you always want to avoid fees. Some accounts, you can keep a daily balance of $500 to $1,500. And when they turn 24, they avoid the daily fee. That's a good lesson to learn, which is sometimes hard to understand. So it's good to just kind of put that first foot forward so that they understand what fees are, because you want to avoid them. And you know me, I don't want to pay for anything that I'm not doing. Now, taxes. This is one of my biggest ones that I want to just mention. When it comes to taxes, they can owe a certain amount of money a year, okay? So let's talk about this for a second. If it's a child's account or a student account, up until the age of about 24, okay? That's usually how long you can have a student account. It can vary depending whether they turn 13, 17, 18, and how you transition the account. On my high-end version of allowances, and again, not in the millionaire spectrum, just high-end, you can deposit up to $15,000 a year into someone's account. And because you're depositing it, so it's post-tax dollars based off of your income, that you don't have to pay taxes on that, and then they don't have to pay taxes on that. Now, and because it's a joint, so you're not going to be penalized for that deposit. Now, with that said, when they turn 18 years old, they will be penalized for that money because now it's a sense of income. So you may still be claiming them, and that's okay. Usually about $5,000 is the limit. So you want to be cautious there. However, if they owe taxes and you have to file taxes on their behalf, or they file taxes, it could be basically $260 that they owe based on a $2,500 taxable income. Those would be the wages, okay? It's best to speak to your tax advisor, accountant, or professional for that individual advice. So as you all know, I do taxes, but I do not believe in conflict of interest. So I would speak to the one who does handle your own taxes. Now, the next topic is the FDIC. The fiduciary allows any bank account to be covered up to $250,000. Now you're like, whoa, Fanny, I'm not going to deposit that much in the account. Well, here's the thing. Let's say you're on the high end of the allowances and you deposit $15,000 a year. Up until the age of 16, they will have $250,000. At that point, then the bank will no longer cover it through insurance. So if the bank is robbed, something happens, that money's not covered. It's like a lost amount. So if you're going to be putting more than that amount into their account, you really want to be conscientious and create another account. Now, again, there's money markets, tiers, CDs, trust funds, all these other things that you can still do. This is based on allowances, and we'll go over the whole subject matter in a minute. But I got to break down the rules so that you understand. Now, the last part of bank rules is the life insurance. So life insurance, you can pay about $35 to $100 a month. And what happens is you're given a policy. That policy has a timeline. When you open it for them as a child, they usually don't have a lot of medical questions, and you do not need a social security number. So you can open up a life insurance policy for everyone. For a baby, you're the owner on that account, and they're also listed on the account. That life insurance matures when they turn 100 years old, which means if it matures, the face value is now the value of the life insurance. In a life insurance, you could have about $5,000 to $500,000 of a maturity face value. With that said, if you think about it, if you open up a life insurance for your child and then they become about 17 years old and it transitions to a whole life for an adult, they may go up $1 or $2 in that monthly amount that they can pay for. And you have a choice. You can pay monthly or annually depending on your comfort level. But that little investment for your child gives them a window that when they need that money, because although it matures at 100, what if they need braces? What if they want to buy their first car? What if they've gone about their life in a merry little way and now want to put a down payment on a house? You can always tap into that resource and pull any of the money you put in, and you're not taxed on it. It's actually a way of utilizing an indexed interest rate that doesn't change. It stays constant for you. And this is kind of like the rich man's secret that people don't really know about. So I'm just letting you know. And I could always explain this more and more and more, but I know there's always questions about this. Okay, so now that we know the rules, how do we figure out the allowance? So in the high end and low end perspectives of allowances, the checking account stays the same. So for the checking account to work, this doesn't change whether it's low end or high end. What happens is, in the checking account, there's a checking, a savings, and an insurance. Those are the three different types. You could do all three. In the checking, it stays the same for any child, whether you're doing a low-end version or a high-end version. And this is play money. This is money that you're putting in an account. It's not a lot of money, but it keeps them kind of off your back. Can I get a candy? Can I buy a comic book? Can I get those Pokemon cards? Do you have your allowance? Do you have enough to cover it? Those are questions that you're asking them back. They're not open-ended, they're direct. Okay, did you save money for today knowing that we were going to go out shopping? Did you bring your wallet? You can't buy it. You didn't bring your money. So now you're buying whatever they want. Their cereals, their, clothing, whatever it is that you're trying to provide for them. But you're redirecting the financial responsibility onto them. Oh, I didn't bring my wallet. So sometimes their credit is good with you and you can say, okay, listen, I will pay for it today, but you got to pay it back in your allowances. Or sometimes you're like, look, you can't get it. Next time we come out, don't forget to bring your wallet. And my kids know it is a standard in my house. Wallet, phone, keys. Always. That is always. Sometimes a chapstick, Sometimes, that's always pretty much consistent. Wallet, phone, keys. That's how it's an Adam Sandler song. It's very it's very consistent with my sons, so they know. Okay, if I need to bring this, and if we're driving somewhere long, headphones. But if I always try to be consistent with them. So the savings account is where it branches into either low end version or high end version. And it's very simplified to two different versions. And you can find yourself at any part of that spectrum. And we'll go over that in a moment. And last but not least, the insurance that I kind of just briefly spoke about. That's the third option. So my children have all three. You can decide what you want to do and what's best to plan your capital for equity. Now, you kind of want to go over this with your children. This is a lot to talk about that they're going to be like, what are you talking about? But I have been discussing this with my children forever, so they know what's going on. So let's talk about the savings account first, okay? This is where you make a decision for low end and high end. If you decide to do the low end savings account, when they're 0 years old and you have a social security card, because it has to be when you cannot open the bank accounts for checking and savings unless they have a social. All my children have a brand new birth certificate, a social security card within a file that's not touched. And I made it very clear that they will not get it until they're about 26 years old because I want to make sure I protect their financial assets. So what you do is you make a decision. If you're doing it the low end, then you want to put $125 at the beginning of this account. $125. That's it. You put it in and you keep it moving. $125. When they turn 18, you put $500. Most banks give you about a $500 minimum daily deposit. So that's all you're putting in for this low-end policy, or low-end allowance, I should say. A total of $625. Now, they may get gifts from their uncle, from abuelita, from tia, cash money. Those we're going to go on talk about in just a moment. But to be clear, that's it. Now, you can always put more in there. But it's really as a lifesaver. It's kind of like if they overdraft on their checking, you have a backup plan. That's it. Okay? So you're like, wait a minute. How much for 18 years? Yeah, 18 years is 125. They turn 18, it's 500. You hand it over. And that's their savings. It's really not a lot. But it will grow based on other information I'm going to talk about. Now we have the high-end version. The high-end version is the same thing. $125 at year 0. But what happens is every other week you deposit no more. So let me express this. You're depositing not a penny more than $576.90. So now you're probably thinking, wait a minute, Fanny, I'm not putting $500 in that savings account every 2 weeks. No, just in case you're not understanding. You could put whatever you want bi-weekly, but it can't be more than $5. If you want to put $1, you can put $1. If you want to do whatever it is, but the constant or consistency of that deposit needs to happen. So you're depositing and you're teaching them every 2 weeks, you want to put a little bit of money away. Okay. So if it's $2, if it's $3, if you have the financial wealth and flexibility to put $576.90 into that account, what will happen is at the end of the year, you will have about $14,999.40. Remember what we spoke about in the beginning, taxes. You don't want to go over $15,000. Okay. So you may not put that much, but if they get like a $2 here, maybe someone give them $1. Hey, we're going to go to the bank. Let's make a deposit. Hey, we could transfer this online. You want to get them in the habit of, let me put my money away. Let me tell you why. Every time I have cash, I always stash my cash, change, stash it away. Then I get a pile of cash at my house and I deposit it. Sometimes I do other things with it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this with this money and that with that money. And I put it away. Constantly thinking about, let me put this away for when I need it. There's times that I invest. There's times that I do many things with my money. But I always am well aware that, I have money right there. I'm good. So I never have a problem worrying about where things are going to come from. Even when me and my husband didn't have 2 nickels to rub together, we knew we had 2 nickels to rub together. So our bottom line still has room for cushion. Okay. So in a lifetime, which would be 0 to 16 years, that savings account would have no more than $250,000. Now, can some of you afford that? Some of you maybe can. Some of you don't even realize that you have the flexibility to put a G a month away in the bank for your kid. And if you can't do that flex, do it. And if you can't, don't feel bad about it. Because that's how life is. So you decide which is the best for you, or are you somewhere in between? Okay. Now the bonus to that is, well, let's say your child loses their tooth. So in my house, we base the amount you get on that tooth is how old you are in that moment. So if they're 5, they get $5 for that tooth. Now, when I was a kid, I got a nickel, a quarter, whatever it was. But for my kids, it's $5. Now, if you base it $5, 20 teeth, that's $100. 9 out of 10, you give kids money for their tooth, they lose the money. You're cleaning their room, you find a dollar. You know they're not going to a club, so where they get that? That's the money they got from their tooth fairy, right? Or whatever you practice in your house. That money, too, you could deposit it in your savings account, okay? Now, we have the insurance that I mentioned. The next part is the checking. This is the part that it gets exciting. This is the part that is kind of kooky. And it's really not low and not high end. It's just a consistent amount. Now, this first number may blow your mind, but I'm just going to throw it out there. When you open up your kid's checking account, you're going to do one of two things. You're going to either put $25 in or $1,500 in. That's it. And you're not going to put any more than that. So if you want to put $1,500 in now, you can, or you can wait till they're about 18 years old and you transfer the account and you put $1,500 in then. Or you can build up to that amount, because by the time they're about 10, they'll have $1,500 if the account is untouched. The reason why is when this account transfers over to them as an adult, they will be financially responsible for maintaining that daily amount. How can you avoid paying that daily amount? Well, if they have a job, what you can do is have them do a direct deposit into their account, and that will avoid that fee, right? Which is actually the maintenance fee, the monthly fee. Now, we're going to dive into checking, but let me give you guys a moment to catch your breath.